So let's talk about socks. Seriously. I thought about putting, the full word in there, but Facebook seems to be coming down really hard on everybody. So I thought if I put the SEX word in, they'd ban the post. So I'll try and remember to use the term physical intimacy. But yeah, a lot of people are afraid to talk about physical intimacy and how to make it great. And there's a secret. There's one really important thing to really connect with your partner. And the idea for this video actually came from someone in the Greatness Movement University, part of the homework or part of the workbooks. There's a section that talks about this topic because so much of what keeps us from our greatness, is if you've watched my stuff, we become our feelings. And so if we're struggling feeling-wise and struggling being able to be intimate, that's going to show up in physical intimacy. And so, she sent me a private message asking questions about it. I was like, my God, I've never done a video about this. So I need to talk about this. So the first, I work with a lot of couples that are struggling in their marriages or even whether, it could be their physical intimacy aspect of their relationship. And I want to give you one exercise, but then I want to talk about something deeper. So watch to the end because this tip is really key. Your physical intimacy will jump through the roof if you start working on this. So one thing you can do with your partner that really generates, and like I'll have couples that are at the midst of divorce, and as we work on things, at some point we turn towards this and I'm like, okay, here's a suggestion. I want the two of you to sit knee to knee, and I'll have them do this in the office. They'll sit knee to knee to each other, just holding each other's hands. All right, and I leave the office. And I say, I want you to start off just in the beginning, just look directly at each other's right eye, not the left, right eye. And just stare at each other. Don't move away, just stare there. Don't say anything, don't do anything, just stare in each other's right eye. And after about 30 seconds, maybe a minute, you're gonna start feeling more comfortable. And then I want you to switch to your left eye. And when you're finished, come grab me and tell me what happened. It is unbelievable what happens to people immediately. I walk back in that office and they're just lit up. Like they're hanging all over each other. Her head's on his shoulder. He's wrapping her up. Even the most, distant type partners. There's just this intimacy. And the reason for it is the reason to start with the right eye is that's the more analytical part of our brain. But once you switch to the left, that's the emotional. And so by starting more safely on the right side, you can slowly build a bit of a connection. And then you switch to the left eye and it's like getting hit by a tsunami. You just get overwhelmed. And I've walked in on crying, or not walked in, but they've let me back in, tears in their eyes, and they just feel this sense of connection. And so if you and your partner with COVID and all that's going on, all the stress and anxiety, why don't you make a commitment once a week just to sit with each other and just holding hands, start off with the right eye, switch to the left eye. If that's easy for you, then just go to the left eye. You're gonna see a dramatic change in your physical intimacy after that. Now, let's get to the bigger point, the secret. This is something not many people talk about, and you'll see this a lot. It's about having your eyes open during intimacy, and this can be just kissing. This can be the actual full expression of the act, I'll say. But most people, like I'll work with people who are dating again, and they're like, hey, I met this person, and we always get to the point, well, did you kiss? And I'll ask them, were their eyes open or closed? And if they tell me they're closed, I'm like, well, this is what that tells you. One, they're still afraid. Because if we close our eyes, the reason a person is closing their eyes is they're afraid to be vulnerable. They're not ready to open up yet, or they're not capable of it. Because this is a veil. I don't want you to see into me. I don't want you to feel that close to me yet, or I'm not even capable of letting somebody that close to me. So I always tell them, pay attention to that. Now, if you go to physical intimacy, like I'll ask couples that are together, I'm like, very politely, when you guys are, having intimacy, does either one of you keep your eyes closed? Well, that's a massive red flag. That's something called love avoidance. All right. Now, if anyone's recognizing themselves in this, please don't hear me as disparaging you. But if you immediately get defensive and go, well, it's not a big deal. It's fine to keep your eyes closed. Right there shows you're a love avoidant. That's one of their defense techniques, is they won't address a problem. That's how they avoid intimacy, is when they get information that challenges their self-concept, they immediately push it away. Because think of it. And this is what's heartbreaking. Like, I don't want to smile. Like, my heart breaks for someone, but if they don't want to talk about this or address it, why is that? That means they were so hurt at some point. To drop their wall and admit an imperfection would be a vulnerability. That shows how hurt they are inside. This isn't something to disparage them for. Their heart's broken. Like, that's heartbreaking. So if you or your partner closes your eyes, what's happening is, and you know, a lot of partners will do this, they fantasize about another person or different acts happening because they can't be present in the relationship. And this is a chronic problem for people and a real sign of distance in the relationship. And so, you know, I always encourage people, when you, especially if you're dating, you go in for that first kiss, man, make damn sure your eyes are open. If you want her to like you and if you want her to really like you, make damn sure you're focusing with that left eye into her left eye. Whether she recognizes it consciously or not, she'll feel it if her eyes are open. And same thing, ladies, you think like, man, this guy's, the cat's meow. Look in his left eye. You'll instantly feel a much deeper, more vulnerable connection. And then sexually, oops, I said the word, during physical intimacy, same thing. Work on that with your partner, of looking at each other directly in the eyes and really communicating, really being safe and vulnerable for your partner. People will cry. I mean, the level of connection that you can have, we all want the crazy, intimate, firework type of act when we're doing that. This is a great way to do it. Now I want to take it into another piece, and this is part of what we talk about in the Greatness University, is you really want to take this to the next level. Now we all feel, how should I say it, urges physically when we're in physical intimacy, but start paying attention to your feelings that aren't just the physical urges. What are you feeling emotionally? Like when your partner touches you or caresses you or does a certain thing that you like, what does that communicate in your heart? When, you know, the certain way they kiss you, or what's going on emotionally? And then if the two of you can communicate that during the process, man, you want to talk about electricity, whether your style, like I'm not the moral police. Whatever it is you like to pursue, whether it's traditional, I guess you could say religious type of intimacy, or more experimental and you like fantasy type stuff, I don't care. It's your life. Like, I don't look down on anybody. I know there are lots of people that are like, this is good and this is bad. I'm like, look, if both people feel safe and feel authentic, I don't care what you pursue. That's okay. It's your life. You get to decide. Now, if you're doing something to try and get your partner to care about you and it's going against your morals and values, well, those feelings will show up. You'll see that. Well, that opens space for a discussion, a place to build better, truer intimacy. So there's a little tidbit, but trust me, if you want to have tremendous connection, open your eyes when you kiss somebody. Open your eyes when you're physically intimate. Now, if you struggle with that, if this resonates with you and you're like, oh my God, I could never do that, you got a defensive reaction at finding out, that's a sign that you are very codependent and a love avoidant. If you're looking, please, again, my heart breaks for you. Please send me a private message. I will give you some resources so you can start, because underneath that, and if your partner struggles with this, please don't berate them. You're a love avoidant. Recognize the reason they're doing that is because of tremendous pain that they haven't, no one's taught them how to address it or overcome it. And so if that's you or your partner, please send me a private message. I'd be more than happy to give you the information and the skills and tools and send you the books and things to help you start healing that, because we have the biggest emotional chemical reaction during the act of physical intimacy. It is something we should all just fully enjoy completely at whatever level you do it, and whatever your morals and values are. And so I really encourage you to investigate these things. Really work on opening your eyes up, because you're opening your heart. That's what you're letting somebody see. And so I know for me, like when I learned about this stuff and I was dating, I was like, oh, her eyes are closed. This is trouble. So, but if a relationship developed beyond that, it was always it became a great connecting piece when they learned about this, and you and your partner can work on those things together. And because many people just aren't aware that they're withdrawing, they don't even know it. And so having this information really helps build a deep connection. So let me know how that works out for you. Maybe you already do it. Maybe you're already an expert at it. I hope you are. But if not, send me some messages or comment. Let me know how this improved your sock life. Anyway, I hope that helps you. Have a great day.